Hi, and welcome to this quick video detailing the Texas legislative branch, or as we like to call them, the rule makers. So, the Texas legislative branch is also known as the state Congress. And it meets here. This is the state capitol. Right? Now, this building or this group of people, the Congress, is actually a bicameral system. So they're actually set up into two different parts. And this side, we've only got 31 people. That is the state Senate. On this side, we've got 150 people. These are the House of Representatives. Now, the state Senate is made up of state senators. You have to be 26 years old in order to join, and 4 years is their term. So whenever they get elected into that position, they last 4 years. In order to become a House representative or a state representative, you have to have 21 years of age, or you have to be 21 years of age, and their terms are for 2 years. They both have to be elected in. So they're voted in by the people. Their major powers in the legislative branch, the Congress, is to write and vote on bills. So they produce bills. Now you may be like, whoa, they make bills? Like, well, wait, all of us get bills, right? I get an electric bill, I get a coffee bill, I get a phone bill, but it's not that kind of bills. So a bill is, whoa, I deleted my words. A bill is a suggested law. And what I mean by that is they come up with the ideas for the laws. So they decide what the rules are for the government and for the people of Texas. And they have to decide on one side and get it approved on the other side. Or vice versa. They get it on one side and they get it approved on the other side. And once both of these sides agree, once the Senate and the representatives agree, then they can send it over to the governor. And the governor officially makes it a law. So instead of calling them the rule makers, you could say they're the rule suggesters. But they're the only ones that can suggest rules. So the governor can't suggest rules. The judges don't suggest rules. It is a legislative branch to come up with the ideas for the laws. The governor approves them. And then the justices say whether or not they're fair or they're legal. Another major power of the legislative branch is they have what's known as the power of the purse. They control the money in the state of Texas. So they decide who gets how much money and how that money can be used. Think of it like the credit card company, right? So I have a credit card. I can go buy whatever I want as long as my credit card says I can buy that money. And if my credit card company says, nope, you're not allowed to spend it there, well, guess what, guys? I can't use my money there. The legislative branch is a lot like that. They say how much money the governor's allowed to use for different purposes. So how much money they're going to be able to get for school, how much money they're going to get for the Texas National Guard, how much money they get for the police. The legislative branch decides what gets done with that money. So they have the power of the purse. And that is a very powerful thing to be able to wield, to be able to use. Because if you control the money, you control the people. Now, they do have some weaknesses. If, for instance, we come over here and we look at their weaknesses, we see that the governor can veto. So a veto is whenever they suggest a rule, they send it over to the governor, and instead of approving it, he says, nope, you're done. Then that bill has to go back. So the governor can turn down the rules that the legislative branch puts out. And they also have judicial courts. So the court system can actually say that their rules are illegal or that they're not constitutional. So they can also turn down their rules if they decide that they're not fair, they're not constitutional. And then lastly, fun fact, real quick down here, which will have to do with this last weakness, but they only meet once every 2 years. So they don't change the rules that often. They only change them once every 2 years, and they get paid about $600 a month whenever they're there. Now, Even though they only work once every 2 years, the governor can force them to come back to work on whatever he wants. So he can force them to meet. Not only to meet, but he can also force them to focus on what he wants them to talk about. So if he wants them to come up with a law for puppies, and they have puppies from now on have to be cute and adorable, which is a silly law. I don't think they would actually do that. But he can force them to only talk about that. So he can force them to come back when they're not working and discuss the things he wants them to discuss. That's a power that the governor has over the legislative branch. So this would make the legislators pretty sad that they have to come back to work and focus on what the governor wants them to focus on, unless they're part of the same team. But that's politics, which we won't get into. Lastly, though, they do have one last power up their sleeve, and that is the power of impeachment. So the impeachment process is their ability to remove a governor. So if everybody or 2/3 of this group and 2/3 of this group agree that the governor needs to be ousted, they can then go get that governor and kick him out. But it's pretty hard to get 2/3 of 181 people to agree that the governor needs to lose his job. I think it's only happened once in Texas history. So, yeah, that's it. If we look at this beautiful picture, you see that the legislative branch is the rule makers, or they are the rule makers or suggestors for the state. They're also known as the Congress. They work at the state capitol, which is in Austin, Texas, by the way. There we go. It's a bicameral system, which means it's split up into two parts. One part is the state Senate. The other part is the House of Representatives. There are 31 state senators, 150 state representatives. A lot less senators, a lot more representatives. You have to be 26 years old to be a state senator, 21 years old to be a representative. You get to work for 4 years if you're a senator, only 2 years if you're a representative, before you have to go and get elected again. Major powers is they have to write and vote on bills or suggested laws. But we do call them the creators of laws. So actually, let's go ahead and keep that makers of laws. So they make the laws. They have the power of purse, so they can control the money. They can remove a governor. Their weakness is that the governor can veto their bills. The judicial courts can overrule their bills. And then the governor can force them to come back to work when they're not supposed to be. And so he can force them to meet and force them to focus on what his priorities are. And that is a brief summary of the legislative branch from Mr. Valencia. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember that you can rewind this video at any point to see if you missed any details that you needed for your assignment. Goodbye, guys.